So we're going to go ahead and de-rig or take the rigger off of our Vespoli 8 here. This is a side mount rigger or a Euro rigger, pretty common. So we'll go ahead and break free each little nut there so we can turn them by hand. I'll undo it a little bit just by hand. We can go ahead and just spin off each nut there. We'll take our hardware off with it. So we went ahead and spun off each nut just by hand. We left one on, and in this case it was the bottom one, since the boat's upside down, that's just holding the rigger from falling off. If the boat was guts up in slings, then we would leave this one on till the very end. Now we'll support the rigger with our hand, spin this one off the rest of the way. We also want to keep all our hardware together, so we save all these washers and nuts with one hand. If the boat was guts up, you might just put them into the seat or into the bottom of the shoe. And just gently remove the rigger, there we go. Now that our rigger's off, we'll go ahead, take our 3/4 inch wrench, and we'll loosen our top nut just a little bit, just about a 1/4 turn or so. That way we can turn the backstay freely. We'll line the backstay up with the forestay. Our rigger's off. We'll go ahead and take all our hardware, and we want to make sure we get it put back on right. So we got our flat washer there. Well, this flat washer's a little too small, so we'll put a normal flat washer on there. Then a lock washer. And then our nut. Now these are 1/4 20 nuts. If you're using a 7/16 inch wrench, you can count on it being a 1/4 20 nut. And what that means is the bolt it's going on, this bolt, is a 1/4 inch diameter with 20 threads per inch. So that's the thread pitch. So it always is going to go flat washer, then lock washer, then nut. And of course, normally there'd be a rigger in front of that, but you never want the lock washer digging into the aluminum on the rigger. So we got all our nuts spun back on by hand. We can go ahead and snug them down just a little bit. Not super tight, just tight enough that they're not going to vibrate off on the trailer. General rule when you're putting a rigger onto the boat is 2-finger tight, so as tight as you can make it with just 2 fingers gently pressing down. Right now we could just use 1 finger, just gently press down on it to make sure it doesn't come off on the road. And there we go, the rigger's off the boat. Next thing we're going to want to do is to put a seat bungee on our seat so that that does not fall out on the trailer. So we have our seat bungee here, and we'll go ahead and look underneath our boat. And you're going to find 2 holes. There's one hole right there that this can go through on the track. And then you can slide your seat back. And there's a number of ways to do it. You could do it this way and then just hook that hole there. You could wrap it underneath, be kind of fancy with it. However it works for you. Just as long as that gets into that hole there and this hook goes through this hole there. And there we go. Now our seat won't slide off the track on the trailer on the way to the regatta. The next thing we want to do on this boat is make sure our wiring's not hanging loose for our coxswain equipment. So we got our speed coach wiring and our cox box wiring there. And we'll just put that right to our shoe there, inside the shoe, and then take the Velcro and Velcro over top of that. That way it's not going to blow in the wind on the trailer and get rattled around or smack against the inside of the boat and damage it on the trailer. One other thing we can go ahead and look at is to make sure that we have tape on our impeller. And this is typically the coxswain's job to make sure that you have a little bit of electrical tape or some sort of tape to take. Just about 6 inches or so is all you need. And wrap that around the impeller. And just press on it lightly. It doesn't even have to go on that well, just as long as it's going to immobilize the impeller from spinning in the wind. Going down the interstate 70 miles an hour, the impeller is going to spin really quickly and it can come right off or damage it. So you want to make sure that's taped. And then of course, when you get to the regatta and you rig up the boat, or you get back home and you rig the boat, make sure you take the tape off before you go rowing. Now the last thing you would want to do is take all your ports and all your starboard riggers and line them up with each other so that you have the center stay there, and then you would just stack the other ones in place. Once you have, if it's for a 4, you'd have 2 for each side, or if you had an 8, then you'd have 4 for each side. You'd wrap around underneath them, take your rigger bungee, just go right like that, and that'll hold it all nice and tight together. And then you'll use another rigger bungee on the other side right here. Wrap around, and again, here you'd have the 4 center stays. Here you've got 4 front stays, 4 back stays. So you'd wrap around all 8, and just like that, and that'll hold it. The ball just slides right through there, just like that. So that's all there is to de-rigging. Once you have that done, your boat's ready to be loaded on the trailer. Next thing you can check out is what to do and how to rig your boat when you get to your rowing site.